we'll not do the presentations during the class hour timings. We'll do it in the off class timings. Yeah. Now, as far as your final project submission is concerned, there is also a deadline of the submission, but that doesn't necessarily mean the day aap submit kar rahe ho, usi din presentation hoga. No, there's a written submission. And again, I will reiterate, the main study has to be different than the pilot study. How is the main study different from the pilot study? Is where in the main study, what you're looking at is developing on the questions that you've already developed. Pilot study, it was open-ended questions. You had a fair idea with respect to secondary data about the company, its competitors, its growth plans. So based on that, you will have to frame your questions, which is to be targeted towards the main customer, which is to be targeted towards the customer. So you can have close-ended questions, and please run SPSS package on it. If it is buying behavioral patterns that you're analyzing, run a factor analysis. If you are looking at extrapolating the demand, if you're looking at demand forecasting, you can use a regression analysis. If it is a new product that you're trying to work upon, you can use a cluster analysis. Right? Sorry, a conjoint analysis for a new product. Cluster analysis is where typically, I'm sure you would have read all this stuff in your QT classes, is where you're looking at similarity of preferences. If you're looking at dividing the customer into different segments, a cluster analysis is going to, the output of a cluster analysis is going to help you out. Right? Any questions on this? Good. Now, before I go forward, I thought of asking the class itself rather than just the CRs. Friday, I understand, is a holiday for Utkal Divas. So I'm preponing the offline class of Friday to Wednesday, right? We will, because we will not let the schedule be disturbed. So as far as your classes are concerned, this is section C, right? Section C has a class at 11:15 on Friday. Right, I will leave it to you to tell me which is convenient to you guys. Can we have a combined class of section C and D, maybe a day earlier, or maybe on Friday itself? No, Thursday is section A and B.
Sir, we also have a class on Saturday. This Saturday.
Saturday, I understand there was no slot available. That is the reason why, because I checked with the PGP office. Or Tuesday. No, you have a class on Saturday. That class is not there.
Oh,
Sir is talking about an extra class, except Saturday.
No. Sir is talking about the Saturday class to be running Friday.
So hold on. Saturday, the extra class that was put up was because of some university guideline, which I even the university, I don't think has given anything. Your school has come up with this thing, which I don't understand. Ki Tuesday wala, Saturday ko aayega, Monday wala, is pe jayega. As far as MM2 is concerned, we are going on tracks with all sections. What I am concerned is all sections should be on track. As one section is lagging behind. As of now, today being the 7th session, all the sections are at par. So Saturday, don't worry. We will not take those extra classes and unnecessarily disturb the schedule. You guys enjoy your Saturday. From MM2, I'm not going to. So Friday also, I don't want to harass you by taking a class. So if you want, maybe Thursday we can have a class in the evening, a combined class of section C and D. Would that work?
Sir, actually on Thursday we have continuous class till 4:15, like 4 o'clock. And after that you have a class with section B.
I have a class till 5:45. I have a class till 5:45. So any class that we do combined class has to be post that, maybe 6:30 types.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah. I'll leave you early. So 6:30 to 9 is the scheduled class. I'll try to leave you by 8:30. I'll not disturb your dinner. Because I'm going to 1.5 घंटे का class है ना? अच्छा हाँ 8:30. Sorry sir. I'll leave you before 8. Don't worry. 1.5 घंटे में खत्म कर लेंगे. Right? Because I'm going to harass you going further down during your presentations, because presentations will go late into the night also. So that will be the real harassment that you're going to face. So I'll not harass you now. Would that work? Your choice. So either you tell me on Friday we can go with the normal class, or since Friday is a holiday, we can do it on. We can do it.
So for Thursday, we already have 4 class, so we can schedule it on Friday if everyone permits.
Friday in the morning hour there will be event by NSS, I guess. So we'll be booked.
NSS को छोड़ दो, NSS का क्या है? Not every,
Thursday, we already have 4 class till 6 or something.
so can
No,
we?
Thursday we have till 4, I think.
No,
No,
on Thursday, including FT, we have 4:15 to 6.
So let's do one thing. Friday, just a suggestion to the entire class. NSS का बेटा छोड़ दो. NSS is not something that we cannot compare it with academics. Academics is something very very different. So Friday, is it okay with you guys in the morning before 12:45? We can finish both the sections together. You have you have so hold on. Friday is actually a holiday, Utkal Divas. So if it is okay with you, we can have a class in the morning also, 9:30 and 11, up to 11, and we finish it off. That is also an option I can give you. Or, yeah,
Yes.
there is, your batchmates are not agreeing. Huh? So,
let's have the Friday on there. Like
you tell me, accordingly, I'll have to tell section D after.
Yes, sir, Thursday.
Yes, sir, make it on Thursday.
Thursday will
Yes,
be
sir,
better
Thursday.
because we finish all the classes and on Friday it will be complete holiday for us. Why to mix match everything?
Chalo, let's take a decision right away so that whatever decision you take, I'll tell section D accordingly. So we'll have a joint class of section C and section D. If it is Thursday, it will be a combined class of section C and D. Taki Friday is a complete off for you. Nobody will take a class on Friday.
Yes, sir, make it on
So
Thursday.
Look. I have no issues. I can take it on Friday also. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
The Thursday will be fine.
So fair enough. Section C, then Thursday 6:30. I understood you have 4 classes. I have 3 classes that day. 2 classes with MBA, and understood I'm just not a faculty. I have other work also. I have the pressure right now of getting all the SIPs done. So Thursday, in that case, we do it from 6:30. Works.
Yes, sir.
Same link. I don't have to send you a link.
Yes, sir.
So CRs, you need to then put it in your group so that everybody is informed. I don't want a mail coming to me saying that, so that there are, I think, 49 students today. And what is your class strength?
54.
54 or
So 6-7 people who are not there also, you need to inform them. And the rest of them who are here, I'm not imposing anything on you. I'm just taking your suggestion. So I think if most of the class wants it on Thursday evening, we'll do it at 6:30. I will try to, finish it early. By 7:30, I'll try to finish up early. Don't worry. Yeah. And I can, how I think, you say 4 classes per day, sir, bahut ho gaya. Imagine the pressure, 25 years back, 96, 98, XIMB. Mornings, we used to have classes from 8 o'clock. Evening, come back for snacks and then again go back for classes. Raat ko get ready for presentations. Yeah, तुम लोग काम करोगे कल corporate sector में. How will you manage pressure? You'll tell your boss, sir, 9 to 5 job है मेरा, उसके बाद काम नहीं करूँगा. Your seniors have done that. Your seniors have done that with a company called Avance Financials. It was again that Avance has finally come back. Acha, there'll be a mail from Avance. Has Amit opened that up to you? Avance has selected already a few interns. They will also be looking at more interns. Has that mail gone to you? I'll check it out. Right. So we freeze Thursday 6:30 as an extra class. Saturday there is no class. So enjoy your weekend. I mean, no class from my side. Right? Who are the other monsters on Saturday who have got classes other than me?
Sir, there will be 3 classes apart from your class. So it will be first will be QT, Subudhi sir, then will be Shikta ma'am, and at last it will be CF class.
No, I really don't understand. Is it that these faculties have actually missed a class with you, hence they're taking a class on Saturday? Is that the case? No.
No, sir, because of that holiday.
Kaun sa holiday?
Sir, online, offline.
Online, offline वाला one week.
Achha. Anyway, so we, as far as MM2 is concerned, we have not missed out any class as per the timetable, right? Section C and D, have you missed any class as per the timetable, CRs?
No, sir. At that time, it was Joy sir was taking those classes, I think.
Joy sir, post midterm, I was supposed to start. He wanted two more weeks, so I said let him take those 2 more weeks. Fair enough. So I'll tell Ashwini Pati in PGP Saturday, as far as section C and D is concerned, they will not have their classes. I'll inform them also. Proper channel. Or Baki, your other favorite faculties in CF and Baki QT. QT Sudhi sir is a wonderful teacher. Undoubtedly. Baki jo bhi, aur kaun tha?
Amy, Shikta ma'am.
Amy, okay. So, right. So what we look at today is, so this is done. Let me then phrase it across. Both the CRs, you need to ensure that the other students who are absent also need to know about it. Please inform them. Thursday, same link. So I'm not sending another link. They will join on the same link. You can inform in your groups whatsoever if you have. Thursday, 6:30 to 8. I'll tell section D also. We'll have a combined class. So I don't want to harass them either. So we'll have a combined class and we'll try to finish it a bit early that day. Yeah. So today what we'll look at is something that I guess all of you would have already read. You would have already looked at, competitive strategies in your MM1. Competitive strategies starting from the Porter's 5-force model, right? I'm sure the Porter's 5-force model where you talked about threat of substitutes, threat of competitors, threat of new entrants, right? The inter brand rivalry, all this stuff is something that we have talked about. But when we talk about competitive strategy now, having looked at global marketing, having looked at rural marketing, having looked at services marketing, having looked at branding per se, we need to now redefine what competitive strategy is all about. So when we say competitive strategy, obviously, when we are looking at the marketplace, we will look at one who's supposedly a market leader. We will look at a market challenger. We'll look at a market follower, and we'll look at a nicher. So who's a market leader? So if it is a hypothetical structure that we are looking at, if the total is 100% of a market share, we assume that somebody with more than a 40% market share is normally a market leader. So followed by the market challenger. So the market challenger, as the name suggests, means it is obviously looking at going up to the market leader's place. So from the box of 100%, if 40% is what the market leader looks at, 30% could be for the market challengers. And then if we look at the market followers, they would be around 20% or maybe 15%. And then there is a nicher, which basically looks at serving niche markets, niche segments with niche products. So that should be another 15 to 20%. So having looked at this box-like structure of a market leader, a market challenger, a market follower, and a nicher, we will look at the strategies that each of them adopt. The strategy that a market leader adopts, the strategy that a market challenger adopts, the strategy that a market follower adopts, and the strategy that a market nicher adopts. Next, we will move on to understanding how in the product life cycle, what are the different competitive strategies that companies look at. So when we talk about a market leader, obviously somebody who has a good amount of the pie, a good substantial amount of the market share. Now, this company would have been a market leader maybe because of a strong brand image, a strong brand equity, more reach in terms of being present all across, more customer base, right? More loyal customer bases, and maybe a company which is completely looking at sustaining a market leader position. Then there is a market challenger, which aspires to be the market leader and will challenge the market leader. So what are the different strategies that they will adopt to challenge the market leader? The market follower is typically the happy-go-lucky variety. He says, I will not rock the boat. I am happy where I am. I will not disturb. I'm not going to run after the market leader. I'm not going to run after the market challengers. I will tend to be where I am. And then there is a nicher, which says I'm exclusive in a particular segment. I enjoy a good amount of market share with my products, which may be prestige goods, which may be premium goods. I have my own market share and I'll stick to that. Having said so, let us look at the competing or competitive strategies adopted by each one of them. To start with, the competitive strategy that a market leader adopts. Open to the class for class participation. What do you think are strategies that a market leader adopts to remain a market leader? I think CRs can look at the class participation also. Yes, Sunit, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So the market leader may leverage on the 4 P's for product for superior quality and price for penetrating the market and distribution to reach both rural and urban areas, and also aggressive promotions like in all front of media like TV, radio, newspaper.
Okay, so you're trying to say is basically it'll use its marketing mix effectively to ensure that it remains a market leader. Now, beyond marketing mix, so one is a marketing mix where it ensures that it'll be a market leader.
Yes, sir.
What are the other things that a market leader should look at in order to analyze competition, face competition, and if required, thwart competition, right? So, yes, Avik.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think as a market leader, they have the privilege of the highest market share, so they can launch new products where there is a gap in the market. That's the privilege they have got that the competitors or the others don't have. So they have to launch new products where the gap is, and they have got the brand equity to back up that.
Very good. So they need to understand the gaps in between and kind of look at. So what Avik tries to say here is, if there is a gap, try to fill in the gap. So if you're trying to filling in the gap could be, I can come up with a product variant which is lesser priced. Why do I do that? I'm already a market leader. Why do I have to look at coming up with new products so that my competitor tomorrow, the market challenger tomorrow, cannot attack me? So what I'm saying is I'm flanking myself, FLANK. I'm sure you would have read this in Trout and Rice Marketing Warfare. I'm flanking myself. I'm protecting myself from competition, right? From competition by the market challenger, or maybe tomorrow a threat of a new substitute product that is into the market. So I'm flanking myself. So one is having flanks. What else?
So consumer preference.
As in?
Means what their loyal customer want, then we can focus that and do a customized product as per their requirement so as to keep their loyal customer.
So we understand it is already a market leader. It has a good amount of customer base with them. So when we are talking about customization, what are we referring to? When you said customization, make customized products for them, you have a set of loyal customers. तो उनको क्या customized products दोगे आप?
So providing them with good service.
So you're talking about the service aspect of it, that the market leader will use service as a differentiator. Okay.
For improving the quality of goods and services.
One sec, beta. So Rishabh has made a very good point that service is a differentiator. So service is a differentiator. If you look at the airline sector per se, and Indigo used a JIT concept as a differentiator. When we say Indigo used a JIT concept as a differentiator, we are basically talking about the fact that it created a value positioning in the minds of the customer that here is an airline which sticks to on-time arrival, on-time departure, sticks to, there are no flight cancellations. So, use service as a differentiation, right? Good. What else?
Sir, they might try to eliminate the competition by buying the competition if it isn't sent. For example, like Facebook, in tech space, they buy all the social media apps which include people in large numbers.
Very good, Avinash. That's a brilliant point that at times as a market leader, tomorrow if I look at small players in the market who are not doing well, they don't have the economies of scale. So as a market leader, I can go across and acquire them. But when I acquire them, I need to look at my ROI. Why should I spend money in terms of acquiring already a sick firm? I will tend to ensure that if I acquire that particular company in the same space, can I have more reach? Can I have some more customers jo uska hai, mere paas nahi hai? Can I look at acquiring a company which maybe has come up with a lower price variant? I acquire that company so that that set of customer in typically a Maslow need hierarchy pyramid. If you look at that particular customer who's not able to afford my product, though he aspires to afford my product, I can then have my own brand name and I can come up with a product variant which is lesser priced. And that can be a strategic advantage also. Tomorrow I'm saying I'm not compromising on my quality. This is, let us say, a product of so and so, a fully owned subsidiary of your company, which is the market leader. Very good.
Sir, will the example of Toyota and Nexa be effective on this?
Yes, yes. Go ahead, next. Yes, Aditya.
So you covered it. I was about to tell the new users, adding about the new users part.
I don't say I have covered it, Aditya. You should. Even if I have covered it also, you tell me. So that's a very good point. Get in new users, increase reach.
Yes.
But there is something else also, Aditya. Let me give you a clue. With respect to use, there can be another strategy they can use. Think over it.
Adding youth.
That's new users only. I'm saying use the word use and think over it while I come back to you after your friends discuss.
Sir, you can tackle the competition by finding a niche in the market and targeting that segment only.
You're correct, Jyoti. So give me an example.
So, for example, if a new product or a company is entering into a market, it should find something new in the market, like some specialty in its product to in sector of price, cost factor, or anything new it can provide to its customers.
So you're okay. So you're trying to say, Jyoti, if I've understood you properly, you are trying to say that whenever we are talking about a market leader introducing something which can be a novelty concept, so it can be to the existing customers, it can also attract new customers for you, right? So that can be a strategy that can be used. Very good, Jyoti.
Thank you.
Yash.
Yes, sir. Sir, as Aditya mentioned, creating new customer base. So, sir, also retaining the existing customer base can also be a strategy, sir, used by market leader.
So you're correct, Yash. So basically, as a market leader, the first and foremost thing that I need to look at is I should hold on to my existing set of customers, whether they are loyal, whether they are repeat users or they are occasional users. I need to ensure that my customers don't go away to my competitors. That should be one. But having said that, so there was an example, I think, which Avinash talked about is acquiring companies in the same space. Second is with the same product, can I look at a market penetration strategy? Right? Can I look at a market skimming strategy by playing on my marketing mix? Right? Can I look at a product proliferation? I come up with different products, maybe at different price variants, products which are maybe customized to meet the needs of different segments of customers. So I have a product, my brand sells a product at maybe customized to the needs of people in the north, customized to the needs of people in the south. So can I think of these strategies also? That is one. But who else has raised the hand? Let me ask you, and then I'll talk about the use part of it. CR, who else have I missed out? See, one, a market leader can increase more number of users by increasing reach. The second that a market leader can do is increase more usage of the same product. I can increase the usage of the same product. Can you think about an example where, as a market leader, I can increase the usage of the same product that I'm using?
Like not the market, like Horlicks. They brought new types of drinks, not only for children but for the pregnant women and for men of old age.
Okay. So Horlicks actually looked at different product variants, right? Yes. So that is one. I think Arpan, yes, you've raised your hand.
In the case of Maggie, it like eventually it penetrated to every segment. Like somewhere it said that in the hostel you can use, somewhere it can say that after coming from the office, or to the mothers. So different segment it tried once it scattered in the market. So
I think Arpan has got a point. Arpan has got a point about the same noodle concept, moving away from a segment which was children centric to moving into a segment which was targeted at the youth. It was targeted at the working professionals. It was targeted even at the nuclear families also as something that was quick and convenient for maybe a light dinner. Let me give you the example of something which you guys, I'm sure we are all young boys and girls, you would like. How many of you would have seen a Milkmaid product from Nestle?
Milky Bud. Milky Bud.
Now, if you look at Milkmaid, from just a condensing milk, as perhaps we would have known during our college days, today a Milkmaid is, so what does Nestle do? It comes up with a lot of recipes where Nestle can be, the Milkmaid can be used for preparing various types of sweets, for kulfis, for whatnots. So what is Nestle trying to do by talking about these recipes to the customer? It is giving them an option that these are something that you can use. This is something that you can do at your house using Milkmaid as a key ingredient. What am I doing? I'm increasing my usage. The moment I'm increasing the usage of the product, I'm talking about more for less. I'm talking about a Milkmaid condensing milk as something which is not just used for one, but it is a multi-purpose product. The moment I position it as a multi-purpose product, obviously I'm increasing usage. Now, this is something that the market leader will do. So, but from a competing point of view, it has to protect its market share, because the market leader cannot just remain a market leader, because the market challenger will be always there to hit. There'll be, Me Too products, the clones, the imitators, right? The Me Too products also coming into the market. It can proliferate the market big time. Typically, products from the gray market can also be proliferating in the market. So how does a market leader tend to protect itself? Right? So one of you talked about is flanking. The second that it can do is go on to a counter offensive. Market challenger keeps on hitting the market leader. Sometimes it plays a price war, right? The market challenger will say, 30% off for a period of 3 months, 20% off for this, or they would say, buy one and get one. So it'll be the market challenger will try to take away the customers from the market leader. So what does the market leader do is, it's like once and for all, de dhanadhan. Beta tera das to mera ek. Right? The market leader can obviously do that. The market leader can tomorrow, because of the economies of scale that it has or it enjoys, can come back and ensure that, if it can go on a counter offensive. Now, if you look at counter offensive these days, you must be seeing it in the news also, right? Ukraine Russia war pe har din pe kuch na kuch counter offensive Ukraine karta rehta hai. So counter offensive is where it will say, you're being offensive, I'm being defensive, I'm trying to defend myself, but you're constantly trying to hit me. So if that be the case, let me also come back. So if the market leader says a limited period offer and a 50% off or a 40% off, the Indian consumer will run across and ensure. So sales during that period of time goes up. It might affect the sales of the market challenger also, because some customers from the market challenger who aspire to buy the products of the market leader will also tend to go down there. It can come in with a heavy promotion. It can come up with a massive product proliferation, different product variants that it can send into the market. Right? Now, so this one is a counter-offensive. Second, it has to preempt. So the preempt strategy is where I'm talking about in terms of the preempt strategy is what I'm talking about is in terms of the flanking, which Avinash, I think, talked about. I will preempt that this is what the market challenger will do. So before the market challenger comes up with that product, I will have a product ready. I will have a set of customers ready. I will ensure that my market challenger cannot get into segments which typically are my segments, and I can still expand. Supposing I'm there in the tier 1, tier 2 cities, can I look at the tier 3 towns to ensure to go into? I'll increase my reach. I'll maybe come up with a product I'll come up with a product variant which is cheaper, which is maybe smaller in pack size, right, to suit the needs and the pockets of that particular belt. So I will preempt and have products ready. The fourth, now when we talk about preempt, one is preempt because of competition. Other is preempt based on customer needs. The customer doesn't know that this is going to be a need for him. You preempt that this can be a need, and you launch the product into the market. Right? So, and there is another strategy that a market leader can do. If it finds that, supposing that it has a basket of products, and it finds that one particular product amongst the basket of products is something that is not selling, the demand for that particular product line has decreased. Because maybe, because of product innovation, there are better products in the market. So what it can do is it can follow a contraction strategy. Some geographical markets, it can withdraw. so that the profitability is not hit. Right? I mean, refer it to the BCG matrix. You have cash cows, you have stars, you have dogs, you have question marks. Normally, what happens is, if you're looking at a conglomerate, a big company which is there, so maybe a cash cow or a product category is used to fund the other. So here the company says, well, this particular question mark, this particular dog is a product that I will not do. I will contract. I will either shelve it off, or I maybe sell it off. I shelve it off means I'll discontinue production, jitna hai bech deta hu, or I sell it off to somebody. So I will not have in my portfolio a question mark or a dog. I will continue to be looking at stars and the cash cows. Now look how intertwined all these stuff are. Right? Now, having talked about this, about the market leader, what do you think are the strategies that a market challenger would do? What should be the competitive strategies that a market challenger will do?
So the first one which I already told, it could the case will be same for them also. They can also come up with new products because they have got a huge share also. So they have got some brand equity also. So they can use the same strategy, and they can look for what the people may need in the near future and launch some products in the segment. They can do the same also, sir.
Okay. What else? The rest of the class has gone into a nice afternoon.
Try to add something new to the existing product in the market so that there will be a differentiation in their product.
Now, very good. Aditya, can you elaborate on that? That's a very good point about a market challenger. So what is the value positioning that I do for such kind of a product?
Sir, like for an example, like in the electronic sector, earphone sector, Sony had been a major share, but then the boat company comes and it adds some new features and they give some new specifications so that the people get attracted to it and they reduce some cost so that now they are leading the market share.
Okay.
Sir, the market challenger can also play on the price. For example, the Chinese mobile phones, they have the same features, but in the low prices compared to Samsung and other players.
Okay.
So creating the need in the market, like what Jio did in India. They created the need of unlimited internet.
Okay, so creating a need. Okay.
So the challenger can also match the leader. They can also match the pricing and the products and the promotion and compete with them head on challenging them.
Now this is a nice example that Shreya talked about. Take the market leader head on. Now this head on strategy is also in marketing parlance and marketing warfare parlance. It is called as a frontal attack. Frontal attack, it's like a Russian army, just rampaging across in Ukraine. I will take the market leader head on. I will play on price. I'll play on promotion. I might go across and give maybe a good amount of sampling trials. Ensure that the customer switches. Good. So that's called as a frontal attack strategy. And it is also at times it is called as an offensive marketing strategy. Right. So when we talk about flanking marketing strategy, we are talking about a defensive marketing strategy. What I'm doing as a market leader, I'm defending myself. Right. Yep.
So the market challenger can use the guerrilla attack, means there they can use the weakness of the market leader, and on that point they can do their product innovations and changes so that they can go up to that level.
See, the market challenger cannot do a guerrilla tactic. Guerrilla tactics is normally used by local players, right? The regional players who have a very strong brand, that the brand pull is there, the demand for the product is there, but they're only there in certain regions. So, us region it becomes difficult maybe for a market leader or a market challenger to go in. But I will tweak your answer, Oliver, when you are saying that it can go across and hit the market leader in certain places. It is also called as a mobile marketing warfare. Now, what's a mobile marketing warfare? It's more like, if those of you who are interested in wars and all that, you come across something called as a carpet bombing. Selectively, I look at 10, 15 places, I go across and hit those markets and come back. What do? I go across and play on price because I feel that this particular market segment is maybe price sensitive. Some areas I find are people who are very sensitive to promotions. I go across and do a promotional blitzkrieg and come back. So what happens is I get into the enemy's area. So I'm here, the market challenger gets into the market leader's area, puts something which can stir the customer to maybe switch. May not be immediately, but in the long run, it can get the customer to switch. Right? Yep, next.
Sir, we can say that broadening our marketing share by attacking the like easier parts. For an example, we can say okay, before Pepsi has launched the mineral water brand of its own. Before Coca-Cola, Pepsi had launched it. So we can say that by diversifying into very different category, we can withstand a
So Itishri, I think the point that she's trying to talk about is also it. So this example of mineral water bottle, mineral water by Pepsi and Coke. It's so when you're talking about a beverage, when you're talking about a Pepsi and a Coke, which has a strong brand, equity, strong brand pull, along with using the same name. If I look into the mineral water segment, because mineral water segment time in Pepsi and Coke here, it was limited to the Patek group. It was limited to one or two Indian players only. So here was Pepsi and Coke, which said that along with my soft drinks, can I look at this particular category? Yes. So it created a latent need of the customer and said that we also have a product available for you there. Okay. Next.
Sir, challengers can be improve their customer service post purchase services to their customers so that they can build a loyal customer segment for their brand.
So Alok, this is in sync with somebody earlier had talked about. So service as a differentiator. So service as a differentiator, you can so to create a competitive strategy, service need not be used as a differentiator only post sales. You can use service as a differentiator pre-sales also. When I'm saying pre-sales, if you kind of have a product where your persons can go across, educate the customer and come back. Now, educating the customer, for example, paints. If most of the paints companies, Berger, Asian, and all of them had this concept of project consulting. What was project consulting? You would just put a query on the website saying that this is my house, this is my specification, itna by itna mera ghar ka square feet area hai, and your address. You will have a Berger salesman or a Asian paint salesperson, who would call you up and say, "Sir, don't worry. Either you come to our showroom with your plan, we will show you the colorscapes and explain it to you, or we can come down and help you." Now, this is pre-sales. Now, just imagine the customer doesn't know whether to use Nerolac or to use Asian paints or to use Berger paints. This small kind of a pre-sale service that you do, going and helping him understand which colors and which walls and how to paint it across. Or you say, look, don't you worry, you buy paints from me, I'll give you my entire concept. I have a team of painters who will go and use the roller brush and help painting better. What are you doing? You're trying to actually induce this customer to look at your products only. So pre-sales. Post-sales, of course, we all know. Post-sales, every company tries to look at servicing as a differentiator. Can I look at pre-sales as a differentiator? Could be another competing strategy that we can look at. Good. Next.
Sir, giving free trials for the users.
Absolutely.
So that after that, they can price penetration they can do. Like Jio did with their broadband.
Okay, perfect.
Sir, just to add with what Aditya said, sir, what can we say about when nowadays Netflix is doing the subscription at a very lower price, just like $199, I guess, to its other competitors. Like we can say this strategy as just to capture the market share and first of all boost up its customer base by reducing the profit margin.
So if you look at this particular example, Itishri, here is the classic case of a product or a brand trying to increase reach, increase usage. Both the combinations where, for example, at a $149, if I'm not wrong, is the lowest price of a Netflix. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if you look at 149, I think it is much more. A subscription of 149 for a month is much more than perhaps what you guys would spend even if you go for a a breakfast into into any of the good joints in Bhubaneswar. So what Netflix did was it understood that the Indian psyche is where I can look at increasing my customer base through one option is price. I'll play on price, and who's my target group? The younger generation, the students, right? It can be the college students, it can be the postgraduate students. So the student obviously will not have the propensity to pay more because they would look at their pocket money to spend here. So 149 easily spendable, easily doable, right? Yep, go ahead. Next, Piyush.
Sir, by taking the example of Inox merging into PVR, so by this they can increase their market share.
Perfect. So this was a classic case of a merger and acquisition happening, a joint venture happening between both the big brands and ensuring that they capture most of the markets. So as a competing, it was not more because of a competing strategy. It was more of a strategic alliance that they looked at in terms of a lot of features. I'm sure if you read the entire deal, it is not just about the fact that they will increase reach. It is also in terms of the profitability that has gone into it. So another thing which one of you talked about is, you said the market leader can look at acquiring companies in the same range. The market challenger can look at two strategies. One, it can attack the market leader head on, right? So that becomes intensely competitive because the market leader also will tend to protect itself. So the market challenger can look at areas or gaps where the market leader is weak, get into geographical areas where the market leader has not gone, create a latent need as some of you talked about. The other is the market challenger would feel कि ठीक है, I will not take the market leader head on, इतना उसको head on नहीं लूंगा. But what I'll tend to look at is maybe in the same category, are there other companies which are weak, financially not sound? Can I go acquire them? If you look at many of the banks these days, most of the bigger banks have grown in size by acquiring banks of smaller sizes. So there, I'm talking about consolidating. So as a competing strategy, can I look at consolidation? I am where I am. Can I expand my market? Right? What else? A market challenger can also look at co-optation as a strategy. It can look at having an understanding with certain players, certain regional players in some areas. The market challenger will say, "ठीक है, I will not get into your area. You sell, but you're selling this particular, for example, a Pepsi or a Coke. Vis-a-vis maybe some local player who's selling a local drink there, right? They will say, Pepsi or Coke will say, we will not get into your segment that you're selling, but you can tie up with me by selling my other product categories. What am I doing is I'm ensuring my brand gets into that particular customers who ideally are not mine. I can co-opt to come up with a new product, right? A product which is similar in nature. So these being strategies of the market challenger and the market leader, what do you think would be the strategy of the market follower? Because the market follower, let's say we are looking at saying that it has a 20% market share and it is a happy-go-lucky variety. It says, I will not disturb the market leader. I will not disturb the market challenger. I am strong wherever I am. I'll continue to be there. But still, it will have some strategies that it needs to look out for. Yep. Aditi?
So, sir, the market follower will develop the they'll replicate the same product with some unique differences like the name. Like many companies we have seen, like Puma, they sell the products in the name of, but just the spelling of the name is changed so that they can create that differentiation that this is a Puma brand product. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So
So what Aditi said, yes, they can like someone is developing something for the first time, so the followers will copy them and they will brought something new into it, and also they can follow a strategy that they will lower the price than their competitors.
Okay.
I think they can collaborate with the market competitor or leader to increase their brand equity. So that will help in a big way.
But why will a market leader tend to collaborate with them? The market leader would say, "Chal, I would rather buy you out." See, a market leader would say, "Arey, iske paas to 20% market share hai." So this is my the market leader will say, "Fair enough." It will be a risky proposition for the market follower to go and tell the market leader, "Boss, why don't you look at my products?" They will say, "Fair enough. Let me buy out your products."
So in case if I tell if the market if the junior the inferior I mean the what should I say the not the market leader, if they go there and they can help them in the distribution where they are lagging at, right? So if the market leader is not doing good in rural area, so they can say, I will take our products and I will also take your products and we will distribute among the rural areas where you are not doing good right now. In that way they can do.
Okay. Not really. I'll come to that. Sonali, you raised your hand, but you switched off your video. Can you switch on your video and then answer?
So my video is on, but it's not showing. I don't know.
Sorry?
So my video is on, but it's not showing. I have my video on, but it's not showing. I have tried it many times today.
Yeah, go ahead. You raised your hand. Answer.
Sir, the market follower can either clone or imitate and keep the pricing strategy low, or they can just sell it through piracy and people through piracy links.
So market follower typically, so what Sonali said is, as a strategy, it has to face competition from imitators, from counterfeiters, from cloners. Now, who are these counterfeiters and all? These are basically, brands who will look at tending. So they copy the same logo, come up with a product which is a complete duplicate, and it is there into the market. That's one competition they'll have to face. Then you'll have the imitators of the main brand. You have imitators of the market leader, you have imitators of the market challenger, same packaging, same color which comes into the market. Cloners. Now these cloners are, they go across and say a similar product, that we are coming up with, maybe with a small amount of change, superficial changes in the packaging and vice versa. So the market follower will obviously have to look at having its loyal customer base intact. So to have a loyal customer base intact, one, it could be a relationship marketing it has to create. Two, it could be the fact that this product has some uniqueness which perhaps the market leader or the market challenger is not able to give. It may be a differentiation based on services for which the customers don't switch easily. They will continue to be with this particular brand. But competition from cloners, competition from imitators, competition from counterfeiters is something that they need to look at big time. Okay. Anybody else who's raised the hand and I've not asked? Now, having said this, what we can also look at is the nichers. These are a group of, so let me, before me telling the answer, let me hear you out. So for nichers, what do you think are the typical competing strategies?
Sir, I think their main strategy are to specialize in one particular segment. We can say that, for example, Tesla in electric cars, or in Ferrari in sports luxury car. So to capture that market and focus only that market.
Now, good, Sumit. Anybody else? There's another raised hand there. Who's this?
So they sell specialized or customized products for their niche segment.
Yeah, they do. They do sell specialized products. I think that's a better way of saying the products are special. So when we say specialty products, we are talking about a fact where the customers also will not be changing their preferences because they feel their needs are met best by this particular brand. That apart, when we talk about nichers, we are typically looking at we are also talking, specialty goods is one. We are talking about prestige goods, where there is a self-esteem attached to the product. It can also be to do with products which are premium priced, and they still remain because they have a set of customers who are ready to buy their products even if it is at a premium price, right? So if you look at all these put together, how do we relate it to the product life cycle? You've all read the PLC, you've talked about the introductory stage, the growth stage, the maturity stage. But for a marketeer in the introductory stage, what do you think are, competitive strategies that a marketer needs to look at for a product in the introductory stage of the PLC? As a competing strategy, what do you think are typically strategies that they would look at in the introductory stage of the product life cycle? I'm sure the PLC has been done with you in MM1.
Yes, sir. So they're keeping the quality good and the price. They can play with the product and the price, keeping the quality good and the price as low as possible. These are the main two things they can do.
Okay. But it's the same set of people who have been answering. The rest of the class, is it an afternoon lunch effect? Afternoon siesta effect?
So by making sure that the consumer are aware of the product, like in the introductory phase, the target consumer should know about the product that it has been launched.
Okay. So creating awareness, creating interest, and the desire to buy.
So they can use good promotion strategies so that they can make aware adding to what Simran said.
So they can induce trial, because one is awareness, second is interest. So to create interest also, at times you can induce trials, and thereby the desire to buy. The typical AIDA concept: awareness, interest, desire, and action to buy.
Yes.
Advertisements and promotional campaigns, like some concept-based campaigns.
Concept-based campaigns, can you elaborate on that?
So sir, in the initial stage, first of all, we need to say this, or we need to show to the customers that what value our product is having. For that, we need to show like where it is working and how it is working. So through promotional strategies or advertisement, we can show this thing to the customers.
So you're saying more of advertisements to evince interest in your products, right? Okay.
The company can start their journey with small area, like some geographical area to capture.
So why say small geographical area? I think it is. It did not be small geographical areas, Ashish. But what you can always look at is it can look at identifying certain segments first, and then looking at increasing the reach with the other segments also. So one, you have to do a proper. So every stage of the introductory stage of the PLC, you need to have a proper STP in place: segmenting, targeting, and positioning. After sales badaya, initially a lot of advertisement goes in. So you cannot just say I'll go only with this budget. I'll look at ROI. At times you have to spend aggressively if your product is completely new into the market. If you're competing with established players, so you need to stand out and ensure that your products are different. So to ensure your products are different, either you need to create interest through your advertisements or promotions big times that the customer is attracted, or you induce trials. Right? If you go across to the shopping malls these days, every other day you will have some company or the other trying to have some samplings being done across in the malls. Because one, the footfall of customers, the diversity of customers into the malls is high. So having said this, if I can sum up introductory stage of the PLC, what we need to look at is one, a good amount of ad spending as a competitive strategy. I need to increase reach as a competing strategy. I need to induce trial as a competing strategy. And I need to basically look at the awareness, interest, desire, and action big time. Right? So that is something which we need to look at. Then when we are talking about the growth stage, because if you're there in the growth stage, obviously you'll have other competitors looking at you because your profitability is on a higher trajectory. Your customer base is increasing. So you'll have a lot of competition coming in. So what do you do then?
So we can use service as our differentiator at this stage.
Very good. So in the growth stage, I need to develop trust. I need to create a relationship with the customer, and that is where what Sunit said is a classic case. Yes, I can use service as a differentiation. What else? When I'm there in the growth stage, understand my primary objective is to have more reach. My primary objective is to increase more amount of customer base. So to increase more reach, I will obviously need to have economies of scale with respect to my production facilities too. So as a competitive strategy, if I have to, I'm a company based out of South, and if I'm looking at the North market and the West market, maybe I need to have, I maybe as well have to have a second manufacturing unit too. It could be a second manufacturing unit which I either create, or I can go across and already take over I can buy out an established player if required. Why? Because I have the economies of scale. My profits are growing. My market share is growing. Right? And then in the growth stage, it's a classic case of a fight between the market leader and the market challenger. If the market challenger is on the trajectory where it is on the growth stage, it is intense competition to the market leader. If the market leader is also on the growth stage, the market challenger will also tend to ensure that it tends to attack the market leader. And at that point of time, we have something called as an economic order point. An economic order point is at one point of time, if I keep on increasing my market share, at some point of time, my profitability might get hit. At that point of time, my revenues will start coming down. If I keep on increasing market share, I am looking at spending a good amount of money also. Now, just about pumping in good amount of money because I have to take more market share, aggressive marketing, is what I'm looking at. At one point, obviously, is a time when my revenues start coming down. So that point of time, I need to look at contraction strategy, competing strategy as a strategy, wherein I need to maybe withdraw from certain markets, hive off certain markets which are not profitable to me. Right? I need to understand that can I go into then the niche segment? Can I look at a market where the market challenger is not there, the follower is not there? It's a complete new and virgin market for me. Can I go across and use that particular market as a strategy? So often you find product life cycles. I'm sure you've read PLCs. It could be something where it is a growth and then a slump, and then maybe it attains maturity. Sometimes it's a growth, a slump, and then a decline. So a decline is where obviously if I have not hived off my unprofitable ventures, it might affect my bottom line completely. So I can lose maybe a market leader's position. So as a competing strategy, I need to look at these big time. So that could be also another of the options that you can look at. Right? So having said this, let me just quickly share my screen with you. Let me know if you're able to see that. If you look at this hypothetical market structure, see, I can't go into a slideshow because somewhere my MacBook is not allowing a slideshow when I'm there on Zoom. So some problem with perhaps the PowerPoint version here. Maybe I need to upgrade. But my MacBook is not allowing. So if I go into slideshow also, let me try it once again and see slideshow, play from current. No. So this is what I was talking about, a 40% as a market leader, a 30% as a market challenger, a 20% as a market follower, and then the market niche. We discussed this also, expanding the total market from having new customers to having more of usage. So to look at more usage, we talked about this also, additional opportunities to use the brand or new ways to use the brand. Market leader in terms of protecting market share, we talked about flanking as a strategy. So when we are talking about creating flanks, it can be a responsive anticipation, कि market challenger कुछ कर रहा है तो मुझे भी करना पड़ेगा. The other is creative anticipation. That before the market challenger does something, let me come up with a product. Let me come up with a new product innovation. Let me tend to flank with respect to product variants. Let me flank with respect to price. So that is where creative anticipation is. The market leader tends to analyze the market and with a proper forecast tend to preempt. It will tend to preempt any competition. Whereas responsive is thwarting competition. वो सामने से मार रहा तो मैं भी retaliate करूंगा. But creative is before the other guy does, I need to fire the first bullet. So this is what we talked about: the mobile strategy, the flank strategy, the contraction strategy, the counteroffensive strategy, and the preemptive strategy. Typically, like in typical marketing, in typical warfare, if you would see also, this is the same thing as we look at the same names in marketing. This is the when they talked about the optimal market share. Beyond this point of time, profitability starts decreasing. So I just cannot keep on increasing market share arbitrarily. There's some point which I need to calculate, beyond which I need to consolidate, because otherwise it basically hits my profitability. Right? What is it that the market challenger does? Now, look at there are two things that I missed out. So encirclement and bypass. Encirclement attack is basically something that the market challenger typically does. It tends to surround the market leader with products. It's like, I'm sure there are a lot of movies being made on wars also. If you see ek fort ko jaake charo taraf se the enemies tend to surround it so that the person inside cannot come out. So encirclement strategy is where the market challenger can do and the market leader can also do. So the market leader can tend to ensure that the market challenger is in a particular segment, in a particular geographical area. I will have my market share all along. Say, for example, they're in tier 1 cities. Supposing the market challenger feels the market leader is only in tier 1 cities, it will tend to encircle. It will tend to encircle all the tier 2, tier 3, so that the market leader doesn't have any option to go into tier 2 and tier 3 because this guy is already present. Same thing that the market leader can do with the market challenger. I understand that this fellow is there in this particular market. All the peripheral markets in and around that is where the market leader goes on, makes its presence felt. Right? Bypass attack is where the market leader feels that there are certain pockets where the market challenger is strong. Let me not get into a fight with him. There are certain areas where there are regional players. Let me not get into a fight with them. I will calculate my profitability. I will ensure my profitability is met. And I can tomorrow come up with new products. I can come up tomorrow with better technology. I can come up tomorrow with more economies of scale. My profitabilities are met. Right? So what happens typically? Either the market leader or the market challenger tends to get into a price war. They get into a price war where they don't look at profitability. A market leader is ideally someone who should be looking at profitability big time. Right? Different attack strategies in terms of price discounts, lower price goods, prestige goods, product proliferation, we discussed about it. Market follower strategies. So it follows a typical, a kind of competition from the counterfeiters, the cloners, the imitators. And the adapters typically is where the market followers also at times tend to fit in. Adapters is where they look at what the market leader and market challenger is doing, and they tend to have something very similar, but with their own set of customers. I'm sure this is something that you've read. I don't want to elaborate on PLC because you've already gone through this. This is the one that we talked about, a growth slump maturity. Right? Initially, you have a growth slumps, and then you a scallop PLC pattern typically, where at times your sales increase, in some cases sales decrease, typically for seasonal products. So not just seasonal products, also for styles, fashions, for those companies or those brands which are into it. Today, what is fashion might become a fad tomorrow. Something that perhaps during my dad's stages, we used to have trousers which used to be the bell-bottom types, and I understand now that's coming back as a fashion. So you never know. So so those which are there in the apparel sector in particular might have a product life cycle which might look like this. Right? Now, so whether it's a market leader, whether it's a market challenger, in order to ensure that there is a market advantage, one is the objective of a mass market. I need to have more users, more reach, ensure my market reach is higher. It has to be persistent or sustainable in nature, continuous innovation, financial commitment. This is where if in your product life cycle, where I said at one point of time, if you keep on only just looking at market share as an option, your bottom lines are hit, right? Leveraging on assets and the novelty concept, which some of you talked about. So overall, if you look at all these strategies that we talked about, the reason why I was rushing through all the slides was This was a combination of what you read in PLC in MM1. This was a combination of certain things that we started in MM1 with the Trout and Rice or the Porter's Strike Force model. These are so when we are talking about competitive strategies, this is just a culmination of all of them coming in. So tomorrow, when you are facing interviews, you can expect questions from your recruiters who ask you questions on in terms of whatever the product or brand is. What do you think are typical competitive strategies? So there's nothing new that the interviewer is going to ask you. It is about understanding whatever you've read through in MM1, in MM2, use plain common sense to answer those questions. Right? Fair enough, guys. So I will stop here. And before I take the attendance, I again want to take the concurrence of the class. So Thursday we are looking at 6:30 to 8 as the class, right? The same link. I don't have to send you a link also.
Yes.
Okay, we got.
So I will give, as this is a joint session with section D, so should I give the same link? Do they have the same link or we have to provide it to them?
No, we'll go with the same link.
Okay.
Okay. I am saying.
So that section will be having different link.
Okay, I get your point. So there could be an issue with respect to the bandwidth, right? So 100 students. Fair enough. So we will have 6:30 to 7:30 for section C, and 7:30 to 8:30 for section D.
No, sir. That didn't, like the recurring class link. Is it same for section D also, like us?
Yeah, it is same for all the 4 sections, A, B, C, D. So we will not have a combined class here. I think that's a good point, Aishwarya, that you talked about. So we will have it for section C from 6:30 to 7:30, and for section D, I will have a class with them next. I will tell them that we'll have it from 7:30 with them. Right? So that the